Hi, are you a beginner at Python and are you looking to get started as a Python developer and then get a job or a freelancing career and then potentially even build a business? Well, then this video is for you. In this video, we're going to cover how to get started with Python as a complete beginner. There's going to be a code along, which means you can see our screen and see how we code in Python, which is going to be a guide for beginners to get started with Python, even if you have no experience with coding. And I'm going to explain to you how to actually progress from beginner to more advanced and then ultimately to freelancer or business owner. So let's get started. First of all, hit the subscribe button because this video takes a lot of effort to make and you'll get future updates on videos such as this, which are Python tutorials. So do click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you get those updates. So how do you get started with Python? Let's say you're not a developer yet or you have very basic knowledge, just several months of knowledge. What do you do next to learn Python? Well, what you need is a simple guide like what we have in this video in a few minutes, where you learn the basics, like what are the different building blocks of how the programming language works and how can you use them. Then you need to start practicing. Practice by yourself, follow a course, follow a video such as this, a code along video, or follow some other video where you learn how to code. Once you know how to code and once you're fairly confident, but not great in any way, just fairly confident that you can build basic things, then you can go ahead and start building more complicated stuff. For example, more advanced web applications that are actually on the internet so you can show your friends. Now, the purpose for this is you won't know how to do all this while you're doing it. You're going to research while you're doing it. You're going to watch tutorials while you're doing it. You're going to watch how to use libraries, how to use all that stuff that is pre-made on the internet, and then figure out how those people built those libraries, and then figure out how to code based on that. That's one method. Another method is to learn coding from scratch, where you go to school and study for 4 years. I don't recommend that method. If you're an intelligent person and you're looking to spend a lot of time, because it does take time, and you're looking to put in real effort, because it does take real effort, and you're not looking for a get-rich-quick scheme or some easy solution, then you absolutely can make it happen like that. This is for people who are individual thinkers, who know how to figure stuff out, who know how to do web research, basic web research, and who want to put in those 4 hours a day of practice, okay? If that's you, then keep watching, because you're exactly the type of person who should be a Python developer and who should become a freelancer. After you learn basic and slightly less basic techniques, part of which I'm going to show you in this video, after that you can get your first job or your first client. This is going to be a fairly basic job or a fairly basic freelancing contract, because you're not really going to know how to fix major issues, but you can fix little issues for a couple $100 on a platform like Upwork.com. Once you go on a platform like that, what you want to do is build out your profile, and we're going to talk about that in a video that I link in the description, because that's a whole topic in and of itself. You basically build out your profile, note down what you're good at, and then start on very small projects and go up from there. Okay, this is for complete beginners who are not developers yet. Now, after that, you'll have some track record and you'll solve some issues. If you can't solve the issue that you're being paid to solve, just don't do it. Cancel the contract, give them their money back, not a big deal. But if you solve a few problems for people and they pay you, you can move on to a contract where you can basically build something from scratch, although nothing is really from scratch when we're talking about Python because of all the existing frameworks and libraries that exist. How do you become a business owner afterwards? Well, you take those skills and then you basically hire people that are as good or better than you at Python, and then you basically work with them because they'll be the developers and you'll be the business owner. Now, once you have that situation, once you're good enough at Python so you can interview developers and pay them money based on what the contracts are paying you, then you're making a profit. And that's a business, because then you're not the full-time developer yourself anymore in the business. Someone else is doing it, the majority of the work, okay? But that's about 8 to 12 months down the line if you have zero Python experience right now. So now I'm gonna let Kevin take over, and he's gonna share his screen and explain to you how Python works, how you can get started, and you can code along with him and learn a lot about Python just by doing that. So let's move over to Kevin, and I wish you guys good luck, and yeah, do exactly what he says.
We're gonna jump into developing a project with Django. It's gonna be something like a really simple WordPress clone, okay? So let's jump right into it. And I'm going to open my, right there, go for programs directory. Right here, I'm going to use the Django admin, start project. And let's call it, let's actually be very, let's call it Django press. I'm sure that exists, but hey, let's use it. And boom, let's go inside Django press. Perfect. So right here, I'm going to do a git init to create an empty git repository and then add everything and do git commit -n to commit everything initial commit. So that's kind of like the boilerplate Django project that Django admin gives you. Boom. So that is committed. Now I'm going to open this in PyCharm and to install that charm command line utility. It's really good. So, all right, right here. Perfecto. All right, so, all right. Python 3.8, perfect. So one thing I'm gonna do is I want to create a virtual environment for the Python to be run again. If you don't know what the virtual environment is, please go check it out. Just type in virtual environment and learn it. It is pretty much a must. If you want to develop things with Python, you should have a virtual environment set up because then your dependencies are going to conflict with each other and it's not something you want. Let's go back to your iterm. So I'm going to come here and run virtual env and we call it vn. So that's the command. This is the folder it's going to create. And you're going to see that right here as a venv, right? So if you want to activate the Python that is inside this virtual environment, you want to do source, the venv bin activate. You do that, now that virtual environment is going to be activated. So this Python is kind of like an isolated environment that you're going to be installing your dependencies in. Now let's go back to our Django press. So in here, I want to do one thing. First of all, you don't want to commit your venv into the repository. So what you want to do is you want to put a git ignore right here, and I want to go to Chrome and I want to search for a Python, actually a Django git ignore, and Django project. There you go. That's probably a decent one. And let's copy paste this right there. Boom. Even in GitHub are nice. They share their stuff. And we're gonna add a new file called it .git ignore and enter. No, I'll do that myself later, and that's that. Perfect. Perfect. Now, if I enter, you're just gonna see that. Oh, we haven't had. That is very weird. It should have been. It does. So why is it that, hey, programming is a lot about, oh, it's a thing. It is the IDEA files, the PyCharm files. All right, that's not a problem. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be, I'm gonna add them to the, usually, this is really a content, this is really kind of like, there's difference of opinion between if you want to commit these like IDE configuration files into your repository or not. I actually think there are some of them that you don't necessarily want to. For the purposes of whatever we're doing, that's completely fine. I'm gonna actually commit them. That's not a problem. And in the git ignore, now why do you want to commit these? Because let's say you have a team and everybody's using PyCharm, and you kind of want to have like a unified environment for everybody to set up. Things like, you know, running the program. You can add more like run configurations into here, doing a bunch of things. So you kind of want to share that across your entire team. You not have everybody set up their own thing. That's where you want to commit your IDE configuration. So then let's just commit this, and I'll say add.git ignore and commit it. So there's one thing when you write a commit message, I like to use present tense. Some people use past tense. It's just a convention you set up within your company. Yeah, either you set it up or your boss has set it up, whatever that is. So or your client set it up. So yeah, now you let's come back to this, and we have a boilerplate Django project set up. Now if you're not familiar with Django so much, I'm just going to very quickly go over all the boilerplate files that are here, and The thing is going to come with the manage.py. You're never going to be modifying this file really. And this is what's going to be, you're going to see it's used. You're going to see it's used a lot. And also, well, we can actually use it right now. So I'm going to run a Python to run Python manage.py. It's just a file is just so, and I'm going to run server. And that's what that's going to do. And, oh, there you go. I haven't installed Django. I haven't done a bunch of things. So let's go back here. And what I want to do is just create that virtual environment. I want to come here and I want to add an interpreter. And right here, we're going to do what? We're going to do existing environment. Damn, it's already set up for us. Perfect. So let's just wait for it to kind of hook it up. I'm going to open a new tab so the environment is kind of like activated. And then here, I want to do a pip install Django. And it's going to install Django. While it's doing that, I want to be adding something called the requirements file. .txt. This is where all your requirements for your project is going to be configured. So right now we just installed Django 3.12, and I want to do that here. This is the format. This is how you define your requirements. It's Django at version 3.12. That's the latest stable version. And then all of the stuff that's also installed, they are dependencies of Django itself. So you just do, as you see, you just pip install Django and they're installed. The rest of the dependencies of Django itself are installed. So that is very good. Now later on, when you want to actually, like, your new developers pick it up, somebody else, you want to set this up on a new computer, you pip install -r requirements.txt, and it's going to install it. It's already installed, so it wasn't that problem. Let's go ahead and run our Python manage.py run server. From the name of it's obvious, it's going to be running the server. And we're going to come here. We'll talk about this error message. It's not an error, it's a warning. But yeah, there it goes, running in the local host port 8000. Cool. So let's go back, and we don't need it really for now. And let's do what? We have some uncommitted files. I want to go back to a source tree. I love source tree, by the way. It's really great. And well, yeah. That's why IDE configurations are pretty annoying. But you know what I'm gonna do actually? Here's some tricks, okay? I kind of don't want to make another commit message. Now this is absolutely retarded. You don't need to do this, okay? I should not use that word. This now you don't need to use this. You want to come here and I want to do reset master to this commit, and you're gonna go keep all local changes, everything. Let's go back. Why did I do this? Because I'm actually gonna be committing these two to IDE. I want to amend this commit, and let's do that. And perfecto. And that's that. All right, now I'm going to commit and make it ignore. So just our commit history is going to be a little bit cleaner. Really, it doesn't matter so much, but it's just cleaner now. Now I'm gonna be, let's do this requirements.txt at requirements.txt. Boom. All right, folks. So let's talk about the rest of the files. These are the configuration for Django. So this is an init.py file. Always in the Django package, you're gonna have this in a Django package or module or library. These two you don't want to touch. They just run the WSGI, ASGI. These are Python web servers basically. Again, you're not going to be editing these. URLs.py, very important. This is where your URL paths are defined. So you have things like admin, which we're gonna take a look at. So blog, or like no path or slash basically. It's gonna be your home page. So let's come to settings. This is most of your edits are gonna be in this configuration. Is gonna be in settings or URLs. Now let's look at this. Pathlet. So yeah, this is basically where your settings are configured, right? And they have good descriptions. I probably, you know what? Look it up yourself. These are the important ones are this debug, the secret key, because this is what Django uses to hash your passwords and sensitive information. And when you're running a production setting, especially you want to keep this a secret. We're gonna talk about the strategies for that, by the way, towards the end of the video. This is like a basic tutorial for probably the first third or half of the video, and then we're gonna get into more, kind of like getting a little more fancy, and towards the end we can get a little advanced. So just like we're just kind of like progressing. So let's now. Oh yeah, the other one is debug. So this, when you have debug on, it means if you have an error, if something is wrong, you're gonna see a detailed error message here. It's gonna show, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's gonna review your code in a bit, right? So when you're developing, it's great. When you're in production, you want to turn this to false, right? It's because it's gonna reveal very sensitive information about your program, about your web server. Allowed host. Again, this is something that's required in production. Basically, if you have like a www.example.com, right? You wanna make sure that it's running there, right? Because some other guy can be like make an example.net or something, and then point your DNS records towards your server and be running your website, and you don't want that, right? You don't want it. You want it to be just be running on your own domain. And I'll just delete that, empty, and then install apps. Apps or Django apps are kind of like WordPress apps. Similar idea. They extend your functionality of Django without like rewriting code, rewriting a lot of code. So there's the admin interface, which we're gonna take a look at soon. Oops. Where there's the authentication, login, logout just comes out of the box, and a bunch more stuff. And the rest of these, we're gonna get into them as we need to. There's also this where you define your database. This is what the database right now running on a local SQLite file, right, alongside our project. It's also gets ignored. As you can see, it's kind of yellow. It means it's not getting committed to the repository. So, and the rest of the stuff kind of like pretty self-explanatory. So now, let's go to URLs and let's do something. Let's do something cool. We want to let's create a home page. Let's create a home page. So what I'm gonna do is a little bit, this is not best practice, but you can do it. I want to really bootstrap this. That's why I'm not necessarily going for the best conventions right in the beginning. But just want to show you what's possible here. So let's create a view. And I'm going to say I'm going to create a function-based view. We might talk about class-based views later. We very well might. But for now, we're going to talk about function-based views. I'm going to call it home. And it's going to get a request object. Okay. And the request we're going to return, what are we going to return? We're going to return an HTTP response from Django. And there inside it, it's going to say hello. Or, you know, it's going to be hello world. That's like a, oops. That's like a, it's pretty conventional. Now, great. Let's run the server again. You can also run the server right from here. Right from here. That's going to say you have 18 unapplied migrations. Your project might not work properly. What is that? This is what it is. You want to be running Python, manage.py, migrate. What is that going to do? It's actually going to create this database properly. This is not an empty file. There's nothing there. It's literally empty. There's nothing inside it. It just creates it because we ran the server. You need to have something to run off. But it's empty. We're going to run migrate, and it's actually going to create all of these things. So what are they? Like, it's going to create like the database models, the tables for the authentication, for admin, for all these rest of the apps I've already installed. All right, now come back here. As you can see, now it's an actual file. It's an actual database file. You can open it, and you can see it here. Not query console, but you can see it. I don't use PyCharm's database viewer. That's why. Yeah, it's not. That's why I'm lost. So don't worry about it. It works. But yeah, can use definitely a better SQLite viewer, like a standalone one. And it's decent too when it works. So now this is running, and I'm gonna just kind of rerun it to make sure it picks up migrations, although it does. And come back, and let's go to the admin interface first. I think that's pretty important. And what do I want to do? I'm going to create a super user. A super user is someone who can log into the admin panel and have every permission given to them. They're a super user, right? They can do anything. So what does that mean? It's going to make sense in a second once you see the admin dashboard. So let's go do this. Python, Python, manager.py, create super user. And I should say, what's your username? Well, I'm going to use, I actually like to use the word admin. We can use the word super user literally. That's probably very descriptive. Come down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. This is, yeah, it's all good. I don't care. And let's go in. Obviously, do not do this in production, right? I'm just making a very fast, being fast, basically. Thinking I don't want to forget the password midway through the video. All right, so as I said before, the Django comes pre-installed with the authentication module, and that authentication is this guy. And it gives you the ability to create users and also groups. What are these? Let's add a user. And it's gonna be me, this one. And that's what this I can't, you know what? I want to do the 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately here it's not gonna work. Here it's not gonna work. That was a terminal. Gonna have more. Yeah, you have more leeway in the terminal. Let's go to, yeah, I'll just type something. Or, yeah, then I'm not going to go to the password. Cool. All right, now inside, you can actually give it name, your first name, last name to people. I'm just going to put my first, wait. I'm being very bad typist today. Come out. Okay, on. Come back down. Active. So this means, is this user active or not? You never want to delete users. Almost never, unless that user, you literally just created someone, you're like, oh man, I made a mistake. I need to fix it. I just delete this guy and add it. But if your user has been interacting with the system, you never ever want to delete them. Why? Because you have objects, you have like things like, you know, comments, posts, whatever that's associated with that user, and you want to delete that. You want to delete that user, everything else has to be deleted too. Like the comments has to be deleted. So yes, we don't do that. We deactivate that, and that's what Django is saying here. Designated users should be treated active, unselected instead of designated accounts. So we want to be active. Staff means you can log into the admin site, right? This is for your staff. This is for whoever administrates this website or this web app, not for your users, end users. So kind of like WordPress admin, if you're familiar with that. This is that interface. And then super user is that guy, right? So you don't have a super user. I'm not gonna make my personal account, if you will, a super user. And then that's that. Now I want to actually enable this guy or myself, if you will, to be able to add users, change users, delete, and view users. Maybe I don't let them delete users. Actually, maybe I probably shouldn't be. It's not too bad at this stage. Sometimes I don't let the staff delete users, just super user, because it is a sensitive action, right? You don't wanna like mess around with it too much. So, and that's that. Let's save it. Boom. So that's one guy. I want to create another user, and that's gonna be Alex. And hopefully I told the passwords right. I'm going to no. And let's make him staff, but I'm not gonna assign permissions here, just so you see what happens. Kind of give it a contrast. So I want to log out. And I'm gonna log in with myself. Imagine if I got the password wrong. There you go. Boom. So now this person can actually add users, right? I have access to this. I have access to users. If I log in with Alex's account, he's not gonna have access to that. He actually doesn't have any permissions. So we didn't assign anything to him. So let's go back and actually log back in with the super user. And let's do and let's go back to users, and now we have Alex, and we can actually go ahead and add the same permissions. What was it, user? And do that. But imagine you have like 1,000 permissions here, something like 100, like a large amount. You probably don't want to go in there and just add things one by one. So that's why Django has this thing called groups, right? So we're gonna create a group, and let's call it, say, admins. And in admins, we're gonna say that admins can actually create users. And also, you know what? I wanna add the ability for the admins to add groups too, because we want them to be able to assign permissions when they create users. It's probably important. So that's that. And then we actually don't need any of these. Let's remove them all. And who is this? Alex, let's save it. I want to go to K1 and do the same. So now this time, instead of manually finding these, I just do one thing. He's an admin. Perfect, you're good. Yeah, save. And then you can see on the groups that admins have these permissions. Cool. Now if I log out and log back in with Alex's account, you're going to see that he has access to users and groups, same as the rest of the people. All right. Let's go back. So that is the admin panel. It's going to get a lot more interesting. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. So let's go back and view. So we're going to create a home page view and that just says hello world. So I'll just create a function-based view. It's nearly a function, Python function, gets the request as an argument, and it's going to return an HTTP response. Now, let's hook this up to, URL, and we want to do this. I'm going to put it on slash, and I'm going to say use home and import it. If you want to a nice shortcut for importing, control and space. Press that twice. Hold control, press space twice. It's gonna import it for you. All right, and you don't want the things. You just want to pass the function itself, not calling the function. Cool. Now, if I go back to TR, let's see if it's running. Perfect, no problem. So URL has a route beginning with this recite unnecessary space target include ensure to include as a training slash. Okay. Yeah, you probably don't need to do that. Doesn't matter though. Then let's do this and let's go back to the actual website. And it says hello world. Perfect. Let's go back. I want to do something here. All right, I want to do something. I'm gonna run this in debug. Right, we're gonna debug this program. I know there's no bugs right now. We're just gonna show you the debug flow. So let's put a breakpoint right here and let's run this in debug. We're on Python for this. It's amazing. We're developing Python. Don't do this in anything else. Visual Studio Code, pretty decent too. No complaints, but Python, this is the real deal. All right, so where were we? Oh yeah, let's run this. And now it's gonna come to here, and it's gonna be in a debug mode. What does it mean? It's gonna stop running the program at this line, and now we can take a look at all the variables we have. So we have a request, and actually see what's in it. So it is a WSGI request. WSGI, remember WSGI. This is a Python server, right? Python web server. And get. So that's the HTTP method. I'm not gonna get too deep into this. You're gonna see this a lot, but look into just type in HTTP methods in Google and read about it. And the path for the path that they call is slash, which means just like it's basically that, right? The website. So here's a bunch. It comes with really a bunch of stuff, and headers, HTTP headers, blah blah blah. Not necessarily super relevant to us, but the user is. This one is relevant. These can also be relevant, but the most relevant ones is definitely user. So the user who's logged into the app right now is Alex, right? And you can kind of like see his like his things that are stored alongside that this user account here too. So let's actually do this. Let's kind of finish running this program. I want to go to the admin. Why? Because I want to log out and not log in, and we'll go back here. All right, it's gonna run, and the user is anonymous user. So this is important. This is important. You have a logged out user, now have a logged in user. This is a logged out user, that was a logged in user. Important in case you want to kind of, some pages need to have a user that's logged in, right? So you want to be able to check for that. Or some users need to have certain permissions to access certain pages. That's why we put this here. Cool. Let's take that off. Let's actually run in normal mode. Now, what we want to do is, if you wanted to type everything in text, that would be a little boring, right? That's like 1990s websites. So you actually want to be rendering some HTML, like real stuff. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to the settings, and I want to take a look at. Drink some of this Gatorade. Cheers. This is not a plug for Gatorade. All right, I have energy, and what is it called? Hydraulics? No, not hydraulics. Whatever, minerals, whatever they're called. Let's check this out. So here in templates, we're saying, what are we saying? We're saying look for this is defining how you want to be processing their templates, which are kind of like the HTML files that the Django is going to render. And we're going to say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to say. We're going to say from the base tier, which is here, basically. We're going to say base tier, and in the templates folder, look for templates. And by the way, this syntax, if you're a programmer, you might be like, you're dividing base tier, which is, what is it? Is that by a string? What does that even mean? Well, Python has this really cool thing called a path lib that you can create paths with it, right? Like, we're saying, hey, look at the path of this file, which is this guy, settings.py, resolve it to actually create the path, and then get its parents, this guy, and then get its parents, this guy, which is that base tier becomes a root folder. And then you can use this really cool syntax, you can see it down here too, to kind of like define paths within your app, and it's just really awesome because it looks like real paths, right? Back in the day, you have to do like os.path.join, which is, it is fine. It's just a little too. That one's is just syntactic sugar. It looks really nice, and less typing. So, let's go and actually create that templates folder. And let's do, I'm gonna mark this guy as a template. Now when I do that, it's probably gonna create a ID configuration, etc. Yeah, it did that, that's fine. And that's the annoying part about having ID config. I just hate committing ID config files to Git. I really hate it, but it is what it is. I said the pros and cons. So, okay. All right. Where were we? Oh yeah, templates. All right, so in the templates, I'll define, we say this is a guy. We're gonna create an HTML file, and let's call it home for HTML. Probably don't need to put HTML, it's gonna do it. Yeah, there you go. Title of the page, say home, and what do we call it? The Django press? Yeah, the Django press. There you go. And the body, we're gonna say hello world. Hello. Forward. Oh. All right. That does it. So let's go back to view, and here we're actually going to be rendering this guy, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to do render, and we're going to say pull request and template name, which is, oh, actually, no, it's an autofill for you, but it's PyCharm, it's awesome. We don't need that anymore. Hey, here's a trick. If you're on a Mac, I forgot a shortcut on Windows, but it also exists. On a Mac, do Command Option Shift L, and then run that, and it's gonna format your file, also optimize your imports. That was an unused import right here. It's gonna take it out. All right, perfect. Let's go back here and refresh. Hey, that is now an actual HTML page being rendered. Let's add let's add something fancy here. Kind of shows that it's HTML. It's still text, but you saw it look different, right? So let's do UL, for example, unordered list, li, this, and that. Let's see what happens. Refresh. Oh, HTML right here, baby. All right. So let's how fancy do we want to get? So okay, let's see. Let's say this. Let's say this is your. Let's say this is your company's website or something that you're building here with Django. And let's just do an insanely simple design. I'm just gonna create something like a header, okay? And in the header, let's put H. What will be the best for this page? This should be. Yeah. You know what? This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go. It's a bit of a tangent if you go also bootstrap.com. Let's get bootstrap.com. It's a bit of a tangent, but we can install Bootstrap, and it's just gonna make everything so much nicer, unbelievably nicer. So now we have Bootstrap, and I'm gonna come to components, and let's find the what's it called, navbar. This is what we want. Oh, it's beautiful. Let's take this. There's so much shit though. I just want a really simple one. I shouldn't swear. He's gonna kill me. All right. Yes, dude. Yes. All right. I like this one. Oh man, that would be cool if you had logo to put here. It's okay. We're gonna do this. All right. So let's put that guy back here, and we're gonna do a navbar. We call this Django press. Perfect. We have it. And then here is probably going on a div for actual content of the website. And maybe here I'm gonna do a what? Why is this 4 spaces? It should be 2. Default ID. Let's add it. Can I save this copy project duplicate? You know, yeah, that's what I want to do. Let's do this. Let's do duplicate that default copy Django template. And tab size is going to do 2. And it's going to be 2. Use tab character. No, perfect. Alright, that's awesome. So speed that is going to be, yeah, that's decent. It's still doing 4 spaces. Oh, I don't want this. Please take that out of the video. And what the hell? Why is it not working? This is the curse of doing something live. Hello. Why do you not work? Oh well, that's fine. Let's have like a hero section for your website, and I'm damn sure that they have something for that. They should. Let's go to their layout. Oh, what am I exactly looking for? Overview, get started, TV, browser, not TV. What am I looking for? It's been a while since I worked with Bootstrap. I use Material UI these days. Bootstrap is easier to. This is easier to work with, definitely. content. Wow, what was it? There is somewhere here where they have like, at least they used to have kind of like examples or stuff here. There you go. Well, I'm looking for something like, let's say that. Perfect. Let's see their source code. Funny headline. Workflow hidden. Yeah, I'm not sure if all of this is like. Let's see what happens. That's probably images, etc. Yeah, that's what I would assume. It has a lot of stuff. But let's see what happens if we just put it there. Alright. Let's see what was that true. Oh man, that was very decent. I really like that the hero section just worked out. Like that, copy paste. Perfect. That's perfect, okay? Now, let's come down here. Let's see this. Alright, this is a bunch of stuff, right? I mean, not the best looking, but it's alright. Let's copy this. And we're gonna do some cool stuff here, okay guys? We're gonna get pretty fancy. I really like this is like very Apple-like design. It's basically a copy of Apple. Yeah. Okay. All good. I've been copying them, so you know, it works. Apple's marketing is really good, so keep that in mind. Let's see. Let's come here and let's do what? Let's put this right here, and yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of stuff. And I'm gonna format the page. I wish it was doing the 2 spaces. I'm not sure why it's not. But it's kind of like this. It is what it is, man. I'm sad. I don't know why it doesn't work, but it's okay. All right. What is it? Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Let's do this. Oh, refresh. All right. Perfect. Oh, that's not ours. This is ours. We're gonna have. Oh, we have 2 now. Oh, I think I copied an extra. Copied an extra section. Yeah, we did. Oh no. Cool. All right. Perfect. I mean, was not my intention, but all good. They probably have some CSS, etc. in there that does the job. Gets the job done. But what I want to actually do is this. We're gonna get a little deeper about Django templates, right? Because right now, this is pretty much vanilla HTML so far what you've seen, but no, Django templates, they can do a lot more stuff. Yeah, do a lot more stuff with it. So one thing I like to do is the codes for these, they all look the same. Look at this, pretty much the same. It's not really different. Besides the backgrounds of the pages are, some of them are, yeah, a little different, right? We can handle that later. But before we do that, we're just gonna do this. Then I'm gonna come down, just delete all of that, right? And just keep one. Just keep it 1 here and refresh. It's just gonna be, oh, it's 2. Because each one is a row, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, it's actually all good. We're gonna do what? We're gonna do a for loop. Oh my god, you can do for loops in Django templates. So I wanna do for in search something. Django templates range. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Google is your best friend. I was just like, what was I thinking, right? There are so many different. Oh no, I like that. Okay. No. Yeah, this was the best. Okay. Let's do that. Not 10 times, just do 3. times, right? Yeah. And then let's call that, it doesn't even matter at this point at least. Oh well, we can actually, you know what? Keep it simple for now. And just gonna put it here, and you might guess what's gonna happen next, and that is this is gonna repeat 4 times. All right. So you can do for loops inside Django templates. Don't worry about this. We're gonna talk about what this is. It's basically saying, hey, for 0, 1, 2, 3, do this time 4 times. We're gonna create what? An about page, about as us Canadians say. About that HTML. We actually don't say about. That's a complete myth. Say about house. So now, get this like about page. We're gonna do the exact same thing. Come here, hook it up to URLs, and this time we're gonna put it on about. So as you can see, I say about. I don't say about. Hollywood has brainwashed me. All right, so with American culture, I love it. Now let's go to what about, and actually we're gonna. Oh, this doesn't exist, right? So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if it doesn't exist. I'm gonna do about. And I'm just gonna say template does not exist at about. So y'all remember this thing? This debug thing right here. This guy. This is what I meant. When debug is on, you're gonna see an error message, a very descriptive error message that's gonna tell you, hey, this is a problem, this is what's going on, it's in this, like, this is Python configuration, this is a bunch of stuff, this is exactly where the error happened, show you the code, show you your settings, a whole bunch of stuff, right? Your secret keys is right there, right? That's a CSR cookie, you know, that's also very important. There's like these are stuff that you don't want anybody to see. Basically, you don't want anybody to see your secret keys there too. There you go. Well, it doesn't show it. That's very good that it doesn't show. But yeah, so you don't want your people to see this, like just your end users, somebody to do that, like hit an error, see all of that. That's why we don't turn debug on in production. Production is an actual website. What happened? Oh, okay. I'm not gonna show you what happens. It's basically not gonna be a normal error message. Like 404 or something like that. This is 500 in this case. So let's actually create that about HTML. So we're probably gonna keep the header, which is this guy, and then we're gonna do like something else. We're gonna do like a P. Let's do a P. I'm gonna say, yo, we're making a WordPress code. Hey, I can't type WordPress code food, and come back and refresh. And it's gonna say that. It's beautiful. Now, let's say I actually wanna add something in our nav, right? Add something to our nav. And let's go back to the documentation for our nav board. And let's add like what do we add? Let's add like a button. Let's add something. Let's add this seems relatively minimal. Let's add this like actually, you know what we can add? Y'all know what we can add? We can add this. We can add this. You'll see what I mean in a second. So we're gonna add a link to the about page. Right. About. And we're actually also gonna make this a link. It really should be. It really should be. Let's make it a link. Yeah, and let's make the href to that option. To that. It really should be. Alright, about. Alright, then call it about. Look at these. Boom, boom. Why is it complaining? Cannot resolve file. You should know better, ID. You should know better. Well, the reason is we don't really define URLs like this, but we're gonna get into that. We're not, my friends. Why not? So now we're gonna refresh that option we're about. Well, a little bit of spoiler. Oh no, what is this? What is this? Oh no. There you go. There you go. What is it about? What is this? Why is it about not showing up? No. No. What did you wrong? I think we need these kind of thing. We need that. Yeah, it's dedicated to the Bootstrap. Not my intention to actually teach Bootstrap here, so I'm just putting this here so it doesn't. Yeah, whatever. Oh, there you go. Now the bot comes up. Perfect. Please. Perfect. That's gonna go to about, right? But what happens when I click about? This is not a link, and this is not. The about isn't there. You can't expect it to be there. This navbar has to be pretty much the same all across the website. What happens is you have two different files. We didn't really do all of these new changes that he added here to here. So what do? Well, we copy paste. Right? We copy paste, and that's all good. I guess it works. And we come back and refresh. And we go here, and yeah, our about is there. Perfect. That works. Now let's go ahead and add another link. Let's add, like, why is this outside? Perfect. Let's go back and add the features. Now we don't have features yet. We want to have it at some point. We might as well put the link up there. Kind of as a reminder, serves as a reminder to maybe build it later. And we're gonna do features, right? And that's features or products. Let's say I like that products, and yeah, services maybe. Services. You know, actually. Let's do a bunch. Oh no, let's do a bunch more. Let's do a lot. What did we do? Features, products, and services. Yeah, that's good. Features, products, and services. Yeah, that's these. And let's go features, products, and services. And that's that. Let's refresh. Perfect. Let's click about. Oh, well, that was the about page. Oh, let's go back to home. Oh, it doesn't have it. Holy hell. Okay, let's come here, and I guess we're gonna copy paste again. That kind of seems daunting, doesn't it? That's pretty daunting. I would say that's daunting. What about this? What about the title? What about all of this stuff? What are you gonna do with that? Well, the thing is, this stuff is shared between almost the entire website. You don't want to be calling them every time you create a new page. So what you do is you're going to create something called a base template, base.html. And then all the crap we just saw, like all the wrappers, we're just going to put them here. And we're not going to, well, all of this stuff basically. We're going to put here. We're not going to, that's that, right? Because this is shared between the entire website. There's a shared thing, and these two should kind of inherit from the space of HTML. Use this to render the things of typing the code again and again and again. So now here, this is kind of like our main, let's say, this is our class content. Let's do that. Yeah, whatever. And here, I'm going to define something called block. I'm going to call it content. And then we're going to end block. Okay. Now back at home, we're actually going to toss all of this away. We're going to toss all of this away. We're going to toss all of this away. And I tell you this already has a div. Someone toss this away too. Toss this away. Okay, let's do that. All right. Oh, so what we're gonna do is, that's the main code that's for home, right? And let's actually refresh it, and it's gonna look really, really, really bad. It's gonna look terrible. It's gonna look like this. It doesn't have like the import for Bootstrap, etc. Doesn't have any of it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna do first, we're gonna extend base.html. And then now this means that this is using base.html. And then we're going to say all this code that's right here, this is actually what's going to go inside block content. and block. Boom. All right. Let's do that. And all right. Y'all guess what's gonna happen? This is gonna happen. It's all gonna come back. Now, when you go to about.html, we're actually gonna do the exact same thing. And that's going to do it. That is going to do it. Alright. Then refresh, go to about, and it's going to have it. And now, if I come back here and I want to take out one of these sections, I just do it once. In here, then we go in services. You know what? We don't need features. Because, you know, then come here, there's no features, right? And it's going to be like that on every page. So, that is for that, folks. And I actually have no idea how long this has been. It's been 51 minutes. 51 minutes. We have barely scratched the surface. Barely.
Okay, so next up, click on the videos in the description of this YouTube video to check out the next tutorials for Python. So what you want to learn is how to become a freelancer and get jobs as a Python developer. We're going to cover it in the videos below. There's a whole playlist just for developers on how to do this. So click below, and if you have any questions, I usually answer the best questions in the comments here on YouTube as well.